So, hi there. Welcome to this very special product review session with me, Mark Anderson, ICT evangelist. If you are somebody who has worked with me or read any of my work over the years, you'll know that I have got sort of three North Stars, sort of guiding principles that I use when it comes to thinking about what sort of ed tech to use in the classroom. And there are three things that we should be thinking about when we're considering using technology. And it's all sort of around pedagogically informed or workload reduction type things. So basically, we're looking for one of three things, and ideally more than one of those three things. The first thing is that the tool should help with your teaching. The second thing, hopefully, is it will help with learning. And the third thing being that it might actually additionally help with some sort of workload reduction. Well, guess what? The product I'm going to be sharing with you on this product review does all three. The brainchild of somebody who's been teaching for more than 25 years in the subject of computing. The product I'm going to be sharing with you during this product review is one called Deliver Computing 360. So as you can see, it's doing pretty well on EdTech Impact. It's won a few awards over the years as well. And it's a really, really fantastic product that can really help teachers of and leaders of computing within a secondary school. Now, as you'll know, secondary computing is a subject which is both technically demanding, technically complex, and requires an awful lot of thinking around it. Unfortunately, you'll also know that it is a subject that does struggle to attract people to the profession for teaching the subject. So there's a bit of a recruitment crisis around the teaching of computing. Well, Deliver Computing 360 helps on many, many different levels. I mentioned that the product was created by someone who's been in the game and with plenty of skin in the game for more than 25 years. And I'm actually really delighted to be able to bring the founder, the creator of Deliver Computing 360 onto this product review to have a little conversation about Deliver Computing 360. His name is Al Metcalf, and I'll bring him on in just a second. Before I do that, I wanted to share with you their sort of mantra and a thinking behind Deliver Computing 360. They say that it is a game-changing way of teaching the subjects. Deliver Computing 360 has been awarded the best teaching and e-learning platform for the last 3 years, and there is a reason for this. Deliver Computing 360 has been tested by more than 10,000 students and many, many schools besides. Grades have been seen to improve across the board, and students love it. Student feedback always very important, of course, when it comes to implementing any kind of technology. So students love it, and they're highly engaged when they use the platform too. Schools that use Deliver Computing 360 have reported that they have led to using the product has led to a higher uptake of computing at GCSE, and teachers' workload drops by over 81%. Wow. Well, with all of that in mind, let's bring on this absolute brilliant man who's helping teach computing and supporting the subject of computing right across the board. Welcome, Mr. Al Metcalf. Welcome, Al, and thank you for joining me for this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, and for having me on your show today. It's really good to be able to share Deliver Computing 360 with such a wide range of new people who can join the already many schools that are enjoying the features that we offer.
No, it's a real pleasure, and you're somebody that I've actually met many times over the years now. I think we first met back along on the Check It Out show quite some time ago now. But you've been and attended at BET and spoken there as well, and all these different things. Al, tell me, what was your idea behind wanting to create Deliver Computing 360? How did it come about?
Well, it's an interesting story, really. I've been teaching for over 25 years, and there's a massive shortage in computer teachers, specialists in the area. And now there's a big push towards computer science, and that's a lot of people are finding that very tricky. I found that running a department on my own with non-specialist teachers, I had all sorts of issues that I had to try and come up against. For example, how could I be sure that all the students had their work marked fairly and consistently when a lot of the teachers were non-specialist. How could I be sure that they were all taught exactly the same stuff and it was the stuff that was needed for them to be able to progress to GCSE? And it's so difficult supporting staff. In one school, I had 5 non-specialist staff that were working with me, and they were brilliant. They worked so hard, and so the solution was to develop something. And I looked around. There was all sorts of platforms available, but there was nothing that actually did everything, which we would call 360, the complete package. There was things that were pretty good at this and pretty good at that, but nothing that actually really did absolutely everything that we needed to do. And so I thought, right, this is what we need to do. And so I started developing it for myself. And as a one-man show, it helped me with the automated marking. Students, I think it's a bit like us when we're working for a company, and we like to be praised by our boss occasionally, don't we? And well done, that was good, and you know, we like that. And it's really difficult if you have 1 lesson a week of IT. Then typically a teacher having 1 lesson a week will come into contact with over 500 students. You can't mark 500 students' work every week. It's just not possible. And yet each of those students wants to know, well, how am I doing? Am I doing this right? Because if they're not doing it right, then they need some help from the teacher. So Deliver Computing gives them feedback on every single thing they do. They get a progress grade every single lesson, so you can see their progression, and they get feedback on every single question. And they don't just get told if they're right or wrong, because that's no good. They need to be told if they're wrong, why they're wrong, and if they're right, why that is right. And so they can learn from the feedback that they're actually given. And then the teacher goes around when they do practical stuff, and the teacher can then take an interest in them, in the work that they're doing, and talk to them and explain to them, because a lot of the workload's been taken off the teacher by the marking stuff. So when they're doing practical tasks, then the teacher can be sort of assisting the lower ability or those that need a little bit more attention, those perhaps with special needs that are struggling or needing alternative provision, and you can focus on that, and that's why grades go up quite considerably.
Listen, it sounds to me like you really hit the nail on the head. You know, I've been in the same position as you, you know, having non-specialists working with me when I've led computing departments myself over the years. You really sort of, you know, and this is what really sort of captured my attention when I first learned about Deliver Computing 360, because you clearly understand the pressures of the role, obviously, because you live and breathe it every single day, don't you? But you've created a product which, you know, really does address those key issues, and it's a common theme in all the schools that I work in, with making sure that you've got the breadth of coverage. And I love that example you shared there, Al, about how many students you actually teach in the course of any given week. Because as you say, often computing teachers, ICT teachers are given only 1 lesson a week. And so and because it's a core subject at Key Stage 3, plus your options at GCSE and A-level, you've got so much marking load and students. I mean, it's hard enough just remembering all of their names, right? And so having something like Deliver Computing 360, I can see could be absolutely transformational and really, really, really helpful. So look, there are lots of things that you can share about Deliver Computing 360, Al. When you tell me what's one of the first things you'd like to sort of share about the product, if that's okay?
Well, I think the first thing from a teacher's point of view has to be the workload. I think you've hit the nail on the head. The workload of a teacher is absolutely staggering, and more so when it comes to computing, because you see so many students. We've done a survey of our schools, we ended up with a reduced workload of over 67%, and then over the last couple of years we've developed the system, because that's the key to our success, actually using it in the classroom, not having people sat in offices saying I bet this would be great in the school, but actually been in the classroom saying this doesn't work, this does work, let's work on this. And our recent survey is now a staggering, we were absolutely gobsmacked, 81% reduction in workload just by targeting the areas that take up the most time, releasing the teacher to spend more time with the students that need it. But the key thing is to create that really important work-life balance.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I remember when I taught them, I say I do miss teaching, but I didn't miss the workload and all the paperwork that's involved in all of it as well. I understand as well that there's plenty of resources inside the product as well, Al. What sort of resources can you find inside Deliver Computing 360 to even further help reduce that workload?
Well, Deliver Computing 360 includes every lesson plan. So we have over 750 lesson plans that are fully resourced, that cover every topic. You've got your misconceptions, you've got your starters, and the answers are there for every single one, and they're within the lesson plan itself. Then you've got your keywords, you've got your objectives and outcomes. Everything is written for you. And we have this fantastic thing called Tick As You Teach lesson plans. And there's an example here of a lesson plan, and you can see the green bars at the top that have been ticked. And that means that if you share a lesson, or if you're off absent, or whatever happens, you know where that class is, because that class is attached. That's the lesson plan for that particular class. And there are tasks that the teacher can do to demonstrate in front of the students before the lesson starts. And all the files that are partly created are all there for the teacher to allow that to happen. And then DC 360 takes over and teaches them the rest, because that's the point of DC 360, whereas a lot of other platforms, what they do, they focus on the testing. What DC does, it teaches the theory, and then it gives them practical tasks to do and teaches them the practicalities of it and using practical skills. Then it gives them some tasks, and it takes those tasks, these are practical tasks that it does, and it marks those as well. And once it's finished with the practical tasks, it then gives them the theory test. So it covers everything. And then it takes all the work and auto marks everything. And you can see here it's marking across the Key Stage 3, so it's giving you an average Key Stage 3 grade, but you can also delve into each aspect of it, and the whole thing is fully mapped to the national curriculum. So, and there are documents which I'll go into later that will talk about that. So everything is there as the students work through and do their grades, and you can target things. So for example, like those grades are all there ready to go into your MIS system, so they can be copied and pasted in. So there's none of that other stuff to do, because it's all there and calculated for you. So everything is there. If schools come to us and say, oh, I really need a report that shows this, we create it. And every school benefits from that. So it's really, really important, because we listen to everything that our schools ask for, and we work with them, because DC 360 is a team. It's a team game.
It's funny you should say that, actually. I was looking at some resources from ISTE recently about, again, what makes good educational technology. And one of the things they were talking about was the co-creation of products with teachers. So you're responding to the needs of teachers and tweaking your products so that it then ends up having the features and functionalities in there that best support them, so they can use it in the ways they need to be using it with their students as well. So that's really really exciting to hear as well, Al. Tell me more. You talked before about increased uptake at GCSE and A-level. How does that work?
Well, it works on a number of things, because the first thing is kids, as we've already said, they love getting feedback. And when they get feedback for every single question that they're asked, and they might be asked 20, 30 questions within a lesson, and they'll also be producing something practical and learning something as well. So that all happens within the lesson. Now, what would happen is, we've got here, you can see a typical learning journey for one of our units. This one is for Creative iMedia, the RO93 examination unit. But we do this for all our Key Stage 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through. So what would happen is, let's take a typical lesson. The students would start to learn, and then they'd be asked some questions on what they've learned to check their understanding, which they'd be getting feedback from, and then they'd have to do some sort of practical task. At that point, the teacher can really get engaged and start chatting to the students and saying, that's really good what you're doing there, that's brilliant stuff. And then when they've completed their practical task, DC will ask for a daily code. And if the teacher's happy with the work, they put the code in, and that then credits them with the marks. And DC says, oh, wow, that's good. Your teacher's happy with that, so therefore you can move on. So it isn't taking the teacher away from working with the students. The teacher can still say, this could be improved. How do you think we can make this a bit better? And then, and before I put the code in, how can we improve this? And so they can build up a really good relationship with the students. And it's that constant feedback, the students knowing where they are, and the building up of the relationship with the teacher. And that is developing such an enthusiasm, because our Key Stage 3 curriculum is really exciting. We've got movie making, we've got animation, and we've got programming, and we actually make games when we do our program. All sorts of exciting. We make touchscreen systems for mobile phones, all fully mapped to the curriculum, as well as our bespoke safety and security units, which are mandatory. We do graphics units. Schools, all our schools at the moment, get a free graphics tablet when they sign up, which they can use with the graphics software that's built in to the platform itself. So there's no licensing issues. The students can actually practice their graphics and animation skills at home because the software is built in. But we also support other software as well that schools might use, like sort of Adobe and Serif and all sorts of other software that schools typically use, Microsoft Office and Google Docs and stuff like that. But we have a lot of our own inbuilt software, so there's no licensing issues. Students can use them at home, so it's great.
There's so much here. I mean, I could take it to another level as well. I'm just looking on the right-hand side of this image here, actually, Al, and the fact that you've got accessibility features built in as well, so that students, regardless of their sort of starting points, if you've got some sort of visual impairments there, that can really help them with that. So, absolutely brilliant to see these sort of things and to learn about all these different things from you. Al. Listen,
accessibility is really, really important to us, and we listen to schools. You've just seen some accessibility options there, but next year we've got a new set of accessibility options just by talking to schools, and it's things like the ability to have the page read out, the ability to have a reading line so that the students can drag it down a bit, and the ability to keep the words as they are, but actually space the words out to make it easier to read, and things like that. So there's lots of things which teachers have asked for, and we listen because, like I said, DC360 is a team player.
And as a great learning opportunity for children as well, about kerning on font sizes, there's so much here. I'm mindful of our time together. One of the biggest issues around workload is preparing things for people that don't even work in the school. I don't like to mention the O word, but I do know that DC360 is pretty helpful when they do come knocking and ask questions about the subjects around the school. How does DC360 help subject leaders around Ofsted visits and deep dives, Al?
I think there are two key things that that teachers sort of shake when they're here, and one of them's the O word for Ofsted, and one of them's the deep dive word phrase that comes out. So DC360 has a deep dive dash, okay, and that's where all the documents that are needed for a deep dive are there. The teacher doesn't prepare them because they're using the Deliver Computing curriculum, so they are there. As the syllabus and requirements change, they are updated by us. So the teacher, that's completely taken away that stress from the teacher. Everything is there that they need. And you can see we've got a third column there, which isn't populated yet. That's a new feature that's coming hot off the press shortly, which will show evidence of excellent work by students, and that will automatically be populated. So everything will be there on one screen, which reduces the workload completely for teaching.
Brilliant stuff. Well, look, we spent an awful long time talking about how it helps students. We've also those three things, remember? So, helps with teaching, reducing workload, but the middle one was about helping students in their learning. So, tell me, Al, how does DC 360 help students?
Well, I think there's two ways that we do that. The first bit is you've got to engage them. That is a primary function that you've got to do with all students. If they love it, today, for example, I launched the animation unit with my students. They'd never done it before. They were so excited about this, and they've started to create all sorts of fantastic animations. They're loving it. But we also have little games for them to play to attract their knowledge. We do stay away from the majority of games because that's not what DC 366 is about. But there are one or two little clever things that we've just put in there just to engage them. So engage them is really important. But the number one thing I find frustrates students, and going back to what you said, another reason that there's a massive uptake at Key Stage 4 following on from using DC 360 is because students feel that it's safe. They feel comfortable and they feel that it's accessible. And so what we've done to make it accessible, we're introducing adaptive learning. And adaptive learning takes every one of our 750 lessons, and we have made those 750 lessons 3 times. Okay, so there are pathways A, B, and C. So you've got the higher ability who would follow pathway A, the middle ability who follow pathway B, and the lower ability who follow pathway C. They're all taught the required curriculum, which is like nothing that anybody's ever seen, because what usually happens, teachers prepare something a little bit different, and it's then very difficult for students to jump back onto the main track because they've done a different exercise. This isn't the case at all. We've taken the core nature of what they're going to be taught in pathway A, and it has been adjusted so that it fits students of differing abilities, so that every student still learns the required curriculum. And then on top of that, because it's DC 360, we always break the mold and go one step further. We've now developed what's called live adaptive learning. And that means that in the middle of a lesson, if you suddenly notice a student, you're finding this a bit easy, they can switch to an alternative pathway. So they are continually challenged. There's not, oh, well, you've done something, a different exercise, so next lesson I'll move you up, but you'll need to finish this because you can't jump over because it's slightly different. None of that, because the way we've developed it allows people to switch so the students feel comfortable. And if you feel comfortable, you're happy to continue to GCSE.
I say, if you feel supported, you're going to want to sort of move forward and learn more. Brilliant stuff. Thank you so much, Al. So what else can you share with me about, I mean, it's 360, right? It sounds like it's 720 more like, but what's, I'll be spinning around at this rate.
It's a lot of work. It's been a lot of work, but yeah.
What else have we got in there, Al?
Well, I think, as well as students having access to every lesson, that we've already discussed, I think the reward system. So how do we reward students? And every student likes to be rewarded in a slightly different way. And so DC360 has an array of rewards. So one of the things that they have is a token system. So as they get questions right, they can collect tokens, and those tokens can be exchanged for little pictures. Basically, you have to try and collect the set. And if you get enough questions right, you can get enough tokens to be able to collect the set. Then schools said to us, that's okay, but can we make the tokens worth a little bit more? So now, like I said, we don't do an awful lot of games, but we have one or two little things in there. And if they get the enough tokens to buy the gaming coin, then they'll be able to play the games within that unit. In addition to that, they have badges. And as they get certain grades in certain units, then they can earn a bronze, silver, gold, or platinum badge, which they can print out. And that is also available for each of the units. And then finally, each unit gives them a certificate, which they can also print out. So we do have a lot of different levels of rewards built in there in order to enthuse the students. And there is a leaderboard for collecting the tokens, which is now coming on, which the kids are really enjoying. And one innovative thing, which I'll just throw in, which is just hot off the press, we've got a little quiz system where the students, there's a leaderboard for a class. And what happens is the students get to create some questions. And if the teacher's happy with them, the teacher approves them, and they get marks for writing good questions. They then get to answer other people's questions within the class. And if they get them correct, they get more points. But if they get them incorrect, they lose points. But equally, the person that's written the question, if their question, if lots of students get their questions right, they don't get many points. But if it's a difficult question and lots of students find it challenging, they get more points for writing a challenging question. And as you can imagine, during your 10 minutes of this question creating thing, the leaderboard is going like that on your live board, which is really good, really good.
Brilliant stuff. So there's so much going on in there. I'm not going to try and recap all of those things because there's so much. And what I will say as well, viewers, is there's a lot more to find out and discover in DC360 besides the things that Al has shared here. If you're interested in finding out more about DC360, scrolling across the bottom, you'll see the various social media platforms where you can find Al and his team from Deliver Computing 360. So please do check them out. They are on Facebook. Just have a little look for Deliver Computing 360. Also on X, formerly known as Twitter, as team_DC360. And you'll also find them on LinkedIn with the company Deliver Computing. If you wanted to go to them direct, of course, the website address, as you probably would guess, is delivercomputing360.com. It's a big thumbs up from me, Mr. Metcalf, sir, and I hope it's a big thumbs up for you viewing. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this little conversation around what I think is a fantastic product. Please do check them out. Right. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you very much. Cheers.